enforcers for white Americans as for African Americans. And therefore, there's a great sense of rioting, there's a great sense of protest, there's a great sense of, this is not right. This is not right. So, a sense of justice is really a sense of fairness that takes place. What in the Constitution, Ricky, could we do, could we write, could we place to make people who are about to be punished feel that that even though they may be punished, even though they're arrested, even though they're going through a trial, that there's a sense of fairness for their experience? What could you do in the Constitution to make somebody feel, okay, it's fair?
But right now, do we have all people that are proven innocent until proven guilty?
Okay. Right now we do, but I'm trying to think what it would be in the Constitution that we would put in. And what you said originally is an inference that the person that's being accused is just being accused. That doesn't mean that they're guilty. And that they're only guilty if the government can do their job by proving them guilty. What else? What else could we put in our Constitution for the purpose of making people feel that the system is fair? Cecilia? I will, but have Ms. Sombrano answer it. Okay, what about the Bill of Rights? The Bill of Rights is a thing within the Constitution, but what individual rights within it would make you feel, if you were accused of a crime, that the system was going to be fair to you? Well, let me ask you this question in a different way. Would you feel that it is fair if you're arrested and you're put in a jail and you don't have a trial for 2 or 3 years? I arrest you. I haven't proven that you're guilty. I just arrested you. And I put you in jail, but you don't have a trial for 2, 3, 4 years. Is that give you a sense of fairness? No. Because what if 2 or 3 years from now, it's proven that you didn't do it? Can the government give you back that time? No. So, in order to have a sense of fairness, you also have to have a sense of quick resolution of the problem. It has to be quick. Don't let me linger for a long time, and specifically, don't let me linger for a long time if I'm in jail. What else? What else? What else? I'm sorry, what, Mr. Sabat? Say it out loud. There's no wrong answers.
He said have an equal constitution.
Have an equal constitution. Okay. Except for that one.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, yes. No. Mr. Daiz, what else would you put into the Constitution to give people a sense of fairness? If you were accused of a crime, what would you want to have? Okay, stop talking. You can raise your hand. Yes?
Like a lawyer or like a...
Okay, you would want to have somebody that could help you with the process like a lawyer. Okay, and you were saying,
No, don't we all have
we want to have some sort of method by which our guilt or innocence is proven. Do we want that method to be in secret or in public?
In public.
In public.
To write to the peers.
Okay. So, now you begin to... Okay. What we're doing now is we're beginning to understand why some of the things that are in the Constitution are there. The Bill of Rights, which you aptly pointed to, begins to solve the question of the Constitution is to establish justice. The Bill of Rights begins to answer the purpose of the Constitution, which is to establish justice. All right, let's continue. Ensure domestic tranquility. What is that? It sounds really pretty, right? I like the word tranquility, the way it kind of rolls out of my mouth. But what is tranquility? Yes.
It means like that you'll be safe from like being hit for no reason, basically, like you won't be tortured. Right?
Okay, torture, yes.
Okay, ensure means make sure.
Okay, make sure.
Your home.
Domestic violence.
Domestic means where you live, civilians, yes. What else? Tranquility.
And tranquility means peace, so that means peace in your nation.
you want to create a sense where the citizens and residents within your nation are living in a state of peace. Now, I don't know whether you ever think about this. Valentina, stop doing that. I don't know what you're doing, but what is it that you're doing? Oh, okay. Then you can continue typing. I don't know if you ever think about this, but I think about it from time to time, especially when I have some free time in the car. The people that are living in the Middle East in these conflict areas must feel like they're living in what, if I close my eyes, would think about what hell would be like, right?
Yeah.
Number one, they don't know if they wake up whether they're going to end up in bed that night or they're going to die. They don't know oftentimes where food's going to come in or where a bomb is going to explode in the middle of a Getty, because it happens every day. So it's a sense of nervousness that must kind of be throughout, something that you and I don't experience every day. When the alarm clock rings or when mom and dad kind of grab you by the leg and say, get up, it's time to go to school, you get up and you are off to your merry day, and the last thing in your mind is there going to be a bomb exploding on the way to school? You know, the only bombs that we really think about is mom going to ask me about my report card last night? Okay, that's the only bomb that we could expect. But we have a sense of domestic tranquility here. And that sense of domestic tranquility has to do with respect for the law and a system of laws that make us feel comfortable. Now, when we feel comfortable, do we do our best job? I'll give you an example. Especially, I've got some runners. We are better athletes when we feel comfortable than when we feel uncomfortable. Let me give you an example. They say in sports, you're going to hear this a lot. Probably you hear it more than most from your dad, which is there is a home court advantage. What does that mean? It means that his players are playing better because they are feeling more comfortable at home than they are away. They're more, and because they're feeling more comfortable, they play better. In a domestic, tranquil environment, we can be the better we are than a place where we have to fear every day for what we do. So, to a certain extent, to ensure domestic tranquility really is not only to ensure that we feel safe, but also to promote our productivity. Because people work better when they feel safe, and people work less well when they don't. And you see it in sports all the time. To provide for the common defense. To provide for the common defense. Now, what does this mean, Ricky? To provide for the common defense. It has to do with army, but what does it mean to provide for the common defense? Yes.
The movie Stripes, it goes with that.
I didn't see it, so you're going to have to explain it.
I can't explain it.
Okay, so I'll look at it and then go, he was right.
Yeah.
Okay, Ricky, to provide for the common defense.
This is common. Is it common attacks?
Okay, first of all, let's break it down like Alexander did. Common. What do you think they meant by common? Ms. Valmana, common.
Common?
Common. What did they mean by common? Not that common. Not that definition of the word. To provide for the common defense. Okay. General, not quite all of us, but who is all of us? No.
Citizens.
Okay, here you have to think about what was happening then. Each state had its own militia. Each state had to defend itself from, not only from other states. You may remember that when they went to the Constitutional Convention, there were some states that were planning to invade another state. But also to protect itself from foreigners, from invasion from other places. At this time, they were probably the most fear, they were in most fear of England. Why? Because to be fearful of Mexico was very far away. They had to come through wilderness. The Spanish weren't going to really attack us. The French, they really didn't have a great state. They didn't set up, towns and colonies and things like that, except for the ones in New Orleans. So the people we were fearing were from the English and from the Native Americans. So we wanted to establish a system where we were protected by a common army, by a common protective vehicle. And who better to protect us than who was in charge of the national military?
Washington.
So to provide for a common defense, hey, if Washington's protecting us, there's nothing going to happen to us. So to provide for a common defense was to protect all of the individualized states from external attacks from our enemies. Okay. To provide for the common defense.
Our table's the smartest.
Promote the general welfare. To promote for the general welfare. And this word welfare has really gotten a really bad rap. The word welfare has gotten a real bad rap. What does it mean today? Chuck.
Welfare?
Welfare.
Means like for the good of you, right?
That's what it means really in the definition, but the word welfare nationally means a handout. Okay? If you're part of the welfare system is you don't work for yourself, you're kind of at the government provides for you, gives you money, it takes care of you. You're there for a handout. That's, in essence, what the word welfare, to a certain extent, means. But that's not what it means here. What it means here is to promote the well-being of all of the citizens. To promote the well-being of all of its citizens. That word really has evolved. For example, Valentina, during the Great Depression, during the time of the Great Depression, the government did not feel that it was responsible if people lost their jobs. The government did not feel that it was responsible to provide for people that were starving in the streets, or even to provide them soup because they didn't have a square meal. The government didn't feel responsible because the theory that existed then was the economy will pick up because all of a sudden people will start working here and they will move over here, and all of a sudden there's this invisible hand that we can't see, but the economy is going to be okay. And for a long time, what happened with the Great Depression? It was like going down a staircase. Bad, worse, terrible, inferno. It was horrible. So, what happens? How did we get out of the Great Depression? Anybody? There was one guy who became president, and he was the president for the longest period of time in American history. Yes.
Delano.
No. Who?
Delano.
Delano?
Franklin Delano.
Oh! Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Yes. Franklin Delano Roosevelt came in. And by the way, what is interesting about him is that historians say that he brought